Fair enough. Next question, Katie McLeod from NCA Newswires.
Thanks, Mr. Taylor, for your speech. I'd like to ask you about something you said in your address when you said inflation is coming from Canberra now, not the Kremlin. But around the time that the coalition government you were a part of handed down its last budget, former Prime Minister Scott Morrison blamed inflation on factors outside of the government's control, such as Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So I'd like to ask you what's changed between then and now? Why was inflation something that was outside of the coalition's control, but is now, as you say, able to be controlled by Labor, especially given the war in Ukraine is still going?
Well, the key to answering that question is that we're not in government, Labor is now. So it's within their control and it's not within ours. But I've laid out what I think is an agenda that will address it, and that's our strong focus. I mean, it is clear when you look at the history of how inflation flowed through. It started with energy, there's no question about that. I mean, I was in roundtables with energy ministers around the world in real crisis in 2021 because of what was happening and going into 2022, obviously, after the Ukraine invasion happened. And there was a real sense that there was a challenge there, and globally, and that flowed through to prices over time. No doubt about that. But the truth of the matter is Labor hasn't dealt with it. They haven't dealt with it, and this is the real challenge. I mean, you know, when you want to get prices of something down, you've got to get more supply in, and Labor's gone in exactly the opposite direction. Now, more broadly, what we've seen over time is prices have increased for absolutely everything, right across the board. It's not just one particular sector, it's absolutely everything. And that's why now it's very clear that if you want to deal with it, you've actually got to deal with it from Canberra. Fiscal policy has to play a role.
So on that, when you're mulling over what you'll sort of give a thumbs up and thumbs down to, would your net decision-making mean a less expansionary theoretical budget or not expansionary at all?
No, I mean, I think the reality is you need to have a budget that's going to put downward pressure on prices. And you know, that means that when you're spending an extra $185 billion, you're simply not doing that. And you know, it's very hard to find an economist to say that this budget is putting in any downward pressure on inflation, Tom. You'll find some that'll say, oh, well, you know, could have been worse, but actually it's neutral. And a lot who'll say, no, actually, it's made the situation worse. But the job of government right now is to take responsibility and make the situation better. And what's very clear is the budget didn't do that.